Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining me for, I believe this is part number 8 on creation balance and how we get back into alignment of creation balance of male and female energy within our bodies and reactivate ourselves to our heart center, and why the heart was referenced so many times throughout scriptures. If we see the beauty in this, we understand how we get back to the throne room, dialed back fully into heaven, which is what Yahshua promised. He'd pull us to where he was. And now at this point, our King, Emmanuel, is redeeming his people. He's taking them through the process. He's redeeming the kingdom. He's helping us remember our true identities, who we are. And we're partaking of the tree of life, our books of life. Some people call those the Akashic records, the keys that unlock those spiritual gifts, and the knowledge of roles we played throughout eternity for the kingdom of God. And it's very, very beautiful. But our heart is the key in all of it. And so this is a continuation of teaching number 7 on our heart. So again, I'm going to go to this whiteboard behind me. Okay, so in the previous video, we talked about, okay, this was what Yahshua achieved on the earth. So his energy filled, his menorah, candlestick, was completely in alignment. There was no disruptions of flow of male and female energy. So when our heart center, because this is the love and compassion of our heart center, of our very essence, is in complete alignment, here's the male and the female energy, and here's the male and the female energy. So it flows vertical within us, and it flows side to side within us. And so when we are in complete balance of spiritual, emotional, physical, and mental, this energy of male and female flows unrestricted within us. It's a constant flow of energy. Okay, and so let's see. So in this, we're going to talk about what happens if we choose to not do the inward work. Because in order for this to take place, this healed heart center, back in creation balance, we have to do the inward work, which requires us to go inward and Yahshua takes us back into the presence, and then he begins his role in the spiritual of King, which is the role of Emmanuel. Okay, so he's going to walk us through the 4 chambers of our heart. And again, these are the 4 chambers, okay? East, north, south, west. 4 directions, 4 seasons, because for everything under heaven there was a season created, and then the spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, and also the elements of the land. So if we have our mental, so let's say this is our heart center, okay, and we choose not to do this work, then what happens is our heart becomes hardened. We don't want correction. We don't want to do the inward work that requires us to face ourselves, and our hearts remain in this imbalanced state. And in that imbalanced state, you cannot achieve what was meant for all of us to achieve, to return back to our very essence of what we were created with, of this love and compassion and this flow of male and female energy, father and mother energy that freely is supposed to run through us. So how are ways that we can do this? So they had me put fasting here. I had actually wrote that down earlier and about fasting, and then I didn't put it in here. So meditation, it's so important that we leave the distractions of the world behind and we go into that meditative state so that we can be shown the areas in our heart that need to be healed. The dance, even David danced unto the Lord. Why? Because it is like a release within our body that helps align us. The fasting is a cleansing process. As we go through these processes, it's a cleansing process of ridding out the old so the new can be born. So, we are to be, we were Yahshua's, first miracle, water turned into wine. And as he walks us through this process, you don't put new wine into old wineskins. You put it into new wineskins. And so the old is meant to die within us. And this is also part of evaluating our hearts every day so that we know, like, when we are in this flow, we begin to see the experiences for what they are. And if we're holding on to anything that will disrupt this flow, it's important that we evaluate our heart and know what's flowing through it. If there is a disruption in this flow, then we need to take care of that so that we can be in that perfect alignment and continue to do the work that we were sent here to do. So these are daily practices. In all of this, the main key is to remain humble and teachable. It's really, when you start to see your inner demons, choices you've made throughout your life and then into the books of life and those things, it is very hard. It is very hard. Your refiner's fire is very difficult to go through. And a lot of people honestly don't want to face themselves, because to do this, to heal your heart center, you have to do the inward work. There is no one that can do this for you. Emmanuel can walk us through the process, but ultimately it's our choice to do the work or to not do the work. And so no one can do this work for you but you. And so it's so important that we remain teachable and humble during the rebuking process, during the refining, the correction of these things. And a lot of people harden their hearts and close their minds because they don't want the correction. They don't want to know that something that they've practiced their whole life could have been a false tradition or wasn't in alignment with God, or face these inner demons of things that live within them, not only from this life, but from past lives. That's part of the books of life. And so it's really important that we do not harden our hearts. Because when we harden our hearts, this is what happens. And there is no flow flowing through it freely of that male and female energy. It can't, because all this, what it does is basically, the more you have in this area, right, it just like blocks out the, like for men, let's just say for men, one thing that they have been taught from a very early age is to shut off their emotional side. So what that does then is it immediately puts a man out of balance and shuts off their emotional side, which completely blocks that area within their life. So in order for the flow to re-enter, you have to address the traumas, you have to address the hurts, the pains, the false traditions of the fathers, the false beliefs, the eternal loops that you keep getting caught in, so that they can be broke, so that we don't take them into the new heaven and earth that are being created. We don't want to continue a kingdom stuck in these loops. We want to create something new. So may we see how important it is to remain humble and childlike and teachable in all in this process, and how important it is to not harden our hearts and let this stuff remain in them, and do the inward work. And it requires that, quiet reflection of that meditation. Find that quiet place, no matter where it is. It could be in your backyard. It could be in, when my journey first started years ago, I had this sitting room in our house where I had the piano and I had my study books, and my kids began to call it my God room. And that was where I would go and I would learn and I would meditate and find what works for you. It could be at a riverside, it could be at a park, it could be in the mountains, it could be anywhere. Find this place of meditation that you can reconnect back to who you are authentically. And that's done by being connected to Yahshua and ultimately Emmanuel. The dancing, it's really important. Our bodies are meant to release things. Our bodies are not meant to hold on to things. And so as we learn to dance in the spirit, and just free ourselves, that it's a very freeing thing to just dance. And then the fasting is super important because it's the cleansing. We want our vessels to be cleansed so that there is no disruption, and that is evaluating this heart. Is there any disruption that is stopping this flow from coming through, both horizontally and vertically? So one way that you can test an area of your body to see, where am I out of balance? The world has taught the vertical, but they haven't taught the horizontal. So this is really interesting. They had walked me through this a while back, probably 5 or 6 months ago, maybe less than that, I don't know, but it's been a while back. And I was told, if this represents, so your heart center, okay, it's your energy field, and what side of your body is stronger than the other. So the world taught you from a very early age in school, right? Don't use both hands, just use one. And what happens then is this side becomes more dominant than the other side. So if you are left-handed and you use your left hand, 85% of the time, you're more dominant and out of balance in this area. This isn't balanced. You're out of balance in this area. And if you're right hand, you're out of balance in this area. You're more balanced in the mental than you are in the emotional. So vice versa, right? And so getting back in that perfect balance. So test your body. Where are you stronger at? Are you stronger in your right side of your body? Or are you stronger in the left side of your body? And do an evaluation with the Lord and see where you are out of balance in the horizontal elements within your body. So that is one good way to help test. The world has taught us, the chakras that go this way, or energy fields that go this way, and how to test them. But begin to know the energy fields that go this way and how we can test them. So learn to test your body so you can see if you're out of balance. Okay, so I hope that helps us understand why it's so important that we evaluate our hearts and why our heart is talked about so much in Scripture. We are to be given a new heart, right? He renews our heart, or renews our mind, and gives us a new heart. So please let Yahshua take you back into the presence of Father and Mother, because the promises are, as we don't close off our minds. We remain childlike and humble because we are teachable. And in the process, we are given a new heart. And our heart is in that perfect flow, uninterrupted from the world and what the world did to it. From the time we entered into this existence, there has been suppression and man's opinions and views and beliefs and what you should do with your life, and on and on and on. And it caused massive disruption in our energy fields. And so it's time that we come back into full alignment and have our foundation fully on who it's supposed to be on, and not a faulty foundation any longer. So may this help give more insight that you can take to Yahshua for yourself. Have a wonderful day.